Hi everybody, and welcome to another video snippet on this sacred marriage ceremony, this 3-month deepening. And today we're going to select another one of the oaths that we have taken to ourselves and to the other one, to the process. And this one is what we are calling Immaculate truth-telling. And there's so many levels to this process. There's the very obvious one, which is where you simply tell the truth about your actions, your choices, things that you're engaged with, things that you've done, physical truths. The physical truth of my being is that I am, I have, I shall be, blah, 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 blah. That's one level of truth. That's the most superficial level of truth. Then there's a deeper truth. It's the truth of your responses. It's the truth of the inner world. How are you showing up? What are you feeling? How are you responding? What's being touched? Who and what aspect is present? How does it feel when you hear the truth of the other one? How does it feel when you know the truth about yourself? That's still only the second level of truth-telling. The truth of my response right now is that sounds very inappropriate to this video. But it doesn't matter, I'm going to carry on anyway. The third and the third level of truth I'm aware of is the primordial truth of what archetypes, what aspects of being are saying or acting or responding in the way that they are acting, saying and responding. So flippin' complex. No wonder we have problems. But it doesn't need to be problems, because we're literally applying a deeper depth of consciousness to what has been a very unconscious pastime. Having a relationship with someone, or having a deeper relationship with yourself.
I think it's funny that, all of these videos, or most of them, sometime or other, there's some workman starts doing their thing in the background. But that was a perfect one, a saw. And that kind of reflects the nature of what we're being asked to do towards ourselves and towards our partners, and actually towards how we live our lives in the outer world. It's like Kali's sword. That was a disc saw cutting through at a 90-degree angle everything we like to believe about ourselves, that we like to believe about life and what it's showing us. Having the courage to not go along with what we've been fed as the truth by a society that wants us for its own ends, and by even the idea of relationship itself has a certain set of expectations about who we are, about our conduct towards each other, and who we're not allowed to be. Fascinating, really. And I love these videos in the context that these are not things we're making to kind of say we've got the secret to everything. This is live. We've just been sitting in another part of this garden, going through exactly in our own process with each other truths that are starting to reveal themselves.
I have a lovely example, if you like. This happened this morning. It's amazing.
Oh shit.
So when you get into this truth business, there has to be a really effervescent freedom that goes alongside it, because otherwise you're just going to get personally wounded every nanosecond, because we are beings who haven't been allowed to tell the truth. We've been conditioned not to tell the truth. So when we start doing it, fur starts flying, and that's when that consciousness needs to come in very quickly and just reassure the other one it's okay. We're just undoing this heavy oppression of minimizing the truth. So for instance, this morning Pete was playing some beautiful bhajans by a lovely man who's singing all sweetly, beautiful ecstasy, beautiful devotion, and my Lilith was around. So I just let her speak. I was like, I just want to barge my way into this circle in Bali and kick the guitar out of his hands and tell him to stop being a complete fairy and get real with the situation and man up and be stronger, because he just felt weak. This was my Lilith. So this energy pours forth across the garden, and Pete is like, I am a divine masculine, I can handle this. And he can, because he's had a little bit of training. Anyway, that's not good enough for me.
Boot camp.
So as soon as he was turned, he went in to make tea. Then I softened. And I was like, Lilith, sweetie, what are you doing? Why are you here? Let's go inward. And so I went into child pose. And I went to the Lilith, if you've heard me tell the story, I went to the Lilith that's actually by the shoreline of the Sinai. I went to the softer Lilith, the one who'd willingly left the Garden of Eden. She's licking her wounds. The fire, the power is just the emanation of that incredible decision to do what she did and to embody what she needed to embody. And so I went into the softness. I went behind the big wrath of Lilith, and of course found a sweeter element that had nothing to do with the man singing bhajans, and then presented that deeper truth to Pete, which was much more vulnerable, much more tender.
Yeah. I think we also hit today a kind of very fundamental level of I don't know if there's such a word as distruth. A level we've each and all been telling ourselves a story in the depth about how unworthy we are of one aspect of life or another. And it shows itself very, very clearly in the field of relationships. And that it's so difficult to believe that the other amazing being wants to spend time with us and step that as a story. It's kind of covering the story that I'm not worthy of a love this big and this deep and this all, multifaceted. And egoically, it's far easier to stay with the story of limitation and not risk all. I love you, but what that means is 80%. I'm holding back 20% for when you are going to find someone else, for when you are going to leave me, so I don't get completely destroyed at 100%. And so this immaculate truth telling in this context comes in with not a false idea of going 100%, it's simply reporting the absence of this 20%. And Anaya was able to tell me a while back, she didn't feel as though I was like really 100% in this. We come to a kind of 25% piece of me that's missing. So you see, it's not, that 25% of me wasn't open to her. And the word open made me conjure up the idea of my own inner feminine. And I could then recognize in all of my relationships, as well as my partner not being open to me in some obvious feminine way, I was actually closed to her in some kind of way, in self-protection. My own feminine not willing to open 100%. None of this is an accusation. None of this is like, well, you should both be at 100%. The Immaculate Truth telling is actually what is here, right now. What are the limiting stories? Not from a point of view of dismissing them, just by actually saying that they're there. And I've certainly found when either of us verbalize something like that, just reporting the story, more energy and love knows where to go, knows to head into that area to open me. And it's like that last part of the truth telling isn't actually something you can do. You can't decide to be 100%. It's something that has to happen genuinely from the inside. It happens as a process, this alchemical process with each other somehow. And now I reckon I've been on the soapbox for a while, and I've been off on one, so it must be somebody else's turn to say something.
No, beautifully said, Pete. Beautifully said. Yeah. So, beloved friends, that's the work of this week. Deeper truths of yourself. Learning. This is a great one for myself. Learning how to articulate those deeper truths to the partner. Because I used to say things, and I still do, say things quite abrasively. It's like, if I'm going to tell the truth, I'm going to be ready for the aftermath. So the truth can come out a little bit loaded, because I'm like bracing myself for, the explosion that could come. So this is definitely my work in process, learning to say the truth with vulnerability, with softness.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
Because that's kind of really interesting. Because we had a similar experience this morning where I was saying something, and then I was able to say very shortly afterwards, she felt that I said it in such a way that was kind of also loaded, that was like had an abrasive angle about it, and I, feeling into myself, didn't feel as though I'd come from that space. But what's most important here, again, is this environment where it's okay for Anaya to verbalise how she perceived something. That doesn't make that the truth, or even my version of the truth. The importance is this framework where it's okay to say how we think and feel in the moment.
Yeah.
So good.
Yeah.
Because it engenders this ability to talk about it. Maybe then, maybe later, and sort of deconstruct what happened there. And it's like, well, when you said such and such, I felt such and such, without blaming the other. This is the field of non-violent communication. But it's not about blaming the other, because doing that closes the energy again. It's about keeping the energy open and the willingness to dive just that bit deeper behind how we think we're being. Wow. This is really important. This is perhaps, for me, one of the most important fields in this whole 3-month concept, Immaculate Truth Telling. Because for me, you can only access deeper love through deeper truth. And it starts with us towards ourselves first, because we can't give deeper truth to someone else if we can't face it within ourselves.
And then the feminine would say, you can only access, what did you say? Deeper love through deeper truth?
Something like that.
Oh, the opposite. You can only access.
Well, they go hand in hand.
Totally, it's beautiful. Yeah, yin and yang. Yeah.
Hopefully the workmen are having a break soon, but we'll see. Anyway, keep using that disc saw on yourselves and cutting through your own stories of who you think you are. And having the balls, or take your balls back like I've had to. And stand there in the sort of naked truth, risking everything. That's true courage. I didn't mean take my balls back from her exactly, but starting with my mother, etc. Recognise that's also a deeper truth for guys, seeing how Probably one woman or another, starting with her mother, has had our balls. And the beautiful truth of reclaiming that. Those. Anyway.
Okay. See you in a few days.
Yeah.